What's good in the hoodie, y'all? It's me, Shine. Today I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I am going to be doing another review. But for this video, I'm going to be discussing a Netflix series named Baby Reindeer. It's been popular. I know a lot of people have watched it. So yeah, I ended up watching it this past weekend, so just a couple of days ago. By the time y'all see this, it would have been like the weekend before. But so I watched it. I very much enjoyed it. Baby Reindeer is one of them like top show. I'm pretty sure it is the top or like somewhere within the top few Netflix shows. It's described as a genre, but then I will also classify it as a thriller because of the heavy topics and like the stuff that kind of goes on in it. Speaking of heavy topics, it does include things like drug abuse, sexually, physically, emotionally, mentally, all that in the third. So if you do choose to watch it, viewer discretion is advised. Also, there's probably a trigger warning before this, or there's going to be a trigger warning because I will be obviously discussing about the movie. About the show. Also, before I start my summary, I want to say that it's not going to be like my movie summaries where I discuss pretty much everything that happens in the movie. I'm not going to be talking about every little thing only because it's just going to be too long. I already wrote out today's thing and it was pretty lengthy because I tried to describe as much as I really want to. I'll be really only hitting the main points. By the way, I put the chapters in my videos in case you guys want to skip over the summary. Like if you want to just hear my review on it because you want to watch and experience the show by yourself, which I would recommend. You could skip over the summary, or if you already watched it, you don't need a whole review on what happened, or you don't really care about hearing about, exactly what you just watched, then also you can skip over that. Also, lastly, before I get into my summary, I do skip around a bit whenever when I'm going to be discussing about the show, only because to me it was difficult to write it because if you watch the show, it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So to me, it's hard to remember exactly what happened at one point before this, before that. So if you want to know exactly how it happened in the show or really get it more intel, I'll recommend just watching the show. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. This series started off with us being introduced to a main character named Donnie, who is a bartender. While working one of his shifts, a woman comes in all sad and distraught. She walks in and wants a drink, but she can't afford it. Donnie gets her tea on the house, just trying to be nice, just trying to be supportive. And this was just the beginning of a long and difficult predicament for Donnie. It isn't clear how much time has passed throughout this point, but soon enough, Martha, which is the girl who came in, she starts showing up every day. From opening to closing, she just starts coming in. She starts sending Donnie email, like over 100 emails a day. She's just keeping in contact, really like messing with him. During this time, she talks about her personal life, how she's a lawyer, how she works with these high clientels. She lives this luxury life, etc., right? But whole time she hasn't had money to pay for a Coca-Cola. Like she hasn't had money to pay for anything. She just comes in, spends the whole day here without paying a dime, and then leaves, like, at the end of the day. Soon, Donnie kind of starts to get annoyed by her antics and begins trying to tell her off. Saying subtle things, but really he's keep on saying how he just doesn't want to be mean to her. He felt bad for her, right? Even though he's been soft flirting and nice to her, he soon starts to get more blunt, ignoring her, making her pay, telling her to leave him alone. But secretly, he craved her attention. Donnie was a failed comedian who loved to hear someone laugh at his jokes, and that's what Martha did. She supported him even throughout some of the toughest times he had while telling jokes. She made him feel like he was actually doing good and actually worth something. To be more obvious that he didn't really want Martha around, she would begin not showing up. Still sending him hundreds of emails though, but not as mad But now she was mad. Now she was sending emails expressing her anger as well as apologizing, and then it was just like a lot of back and forth. Donnie followed her home one time and just to see what her living situation was. He was curious, and it was bad. It was dirty. It was a mess, whatever. And he got caught. He got caught peering in her window. Soon she began following him and eventually found out where he lived. He lived at his ex-girlfriend's mom's house. I'm not gonna touch on that, but during one of the times she followed him, she sexually assaulted him, touching all up on everything, and had him pinned against the wall. And this was when we learned about Donnie's troubled past. We learned that years ago when he first moved to this specific part of England, he hoped to launch his comedic career. He performed free at a bar and asked for donations, at which he pretty much earned nothing at the end of the day. He wasn't really hit because I'm gonna keep it a bug. His act sucks. He went on to networking events in which he ended up meeting a guy named Darren O'Connor, who was a main character for a popular TV show. Darren helped Donnie with this comedic shows, and soon enough, Donnie was getting more people to come and sit and watch, actually pay attention, actually focus, and getting people to actually pay, give donations by the end of the night. Darren would eventually stop coming around. I forgot the reason why, but he eventually starts coming around. And Donnie didn't quite land on his feet after the bar went back to playing sports on TV. He wasn't really getting donations like that. So eventually he had to get a job working at a bar. Not the same bar, but he worked at a different one. Darren would then be get in contact with Donnie again and then invite him back to his house where they indulge in heavy drugs, pills, ecstasy, to crack, to heroin. Eventually, they started doing like acid. They just started doing like a whole lot of, and it got to the point where Darren was convincing Donnie to start doing more drugs than he was doing. Like Darren was taking like one thing of acid, Donnie was taking two. You feel me? Like it kind of got to that point. When Donnie was on these drugs, he began to really pass out or whatever, and Darren would begin sexually assaulting Donnie. It started with Donnie just waking up with Darren's hand in his pants, and then it led to rape on multiple times. So like multiple instances. So when Martha touched Donnie that one time, it kind of brought him back to that state like that he was in. Like I said, the storyline that I'm telling this is not in order because I'm not giving every detail in the series, but Donnie goes on this date with this trans woman named Terry. I'm saying trans woman because it plays a part in the story, so not too much on that. They have this really good connection. They really get to know each other, but because Martha is so fascinated with Donnie, it drives this like wall between Donnie and Terry. He would only see Terry in like dark restaurants. He didn't want to see her in public. He gave her a fake name about where he worked, all of that, because he didn't want Martha to find out about Terry. At least that was one of his reasons. Eventually, the truth came to light and Terry felt bad and wanted to help. Martha seen Terry with Donnie and attacked her and said she looked like a man. Terry was ashamed and left Donnie. Fast forward, I'm skipping a lot of parts, but fast forward, Donnie begins pressing charges on Martha and makes many police reports. They build a case, and during this time, Martha soon begins keeping her distance. There is a period where Donnie becomes fascinated with Martha, almost to the point where now the roles are reversed, and now he's more fascinated in her. Eventually got to the point where like he was like touching himself about her, and he ended up going to her house and having sex with her during this whole entire lawsuit thing. Not lawsuit, but trying to press charges on her. Martha ruins his relationship with Donnie's relationship with his family, his friends, relationship with Martha. etc. Like she pretty much ruins everything. He goes to a comedy competition at which he talks about his whole life experience. You know, the act didn't really go well, so then he started to talk about all his trauma, the drugging, rape, stalking, etc., etc., lost of all his friendships, relationships, whatever, right? Someone was recording and takes a video of it and posts it online. He begins getting interviews, getting connecting with his family and friends. Everyone finds out about it and really wants to support him, whatever the case may be. Eventually Martha does go to jail, and yet Donnie still wants to try to figure out why Martha is the way she is. You know, why would she choose to stalk him? Why was she acting like that? Like, he spends so much time doing that. His relationship with Terry eventually gets fixed. And then out of the blue, Darren O'Connor calls him and wants him to be a writer for the show without all the drugs and sex this time. And what I think is sadly, Donnie agrees. So that pretty much ends where it kind of left off, I'm pretty sure. Now here's for my little review. So I personally liked this show. Yes, it covered some heavy topics, and then like it's just a lot of it's insane, but really it's just like, to me, a great outline of like how abused victims can possibly feel after a situation like with him, right? And I know one thing I appreciate is the fact that it's being told through a story of a man and not a woman, because it's like we always get stories of like women being sexually abused or whatever, but I'm really glad that this was told through a perspective of a man being stalked and sexually abused and harassed and everything. Because it kind of I just hope that it like reaches certain audiences, like a certain audience, now that it's being told through a man, and you really kind of understand the how like being abused can like really mess with you mentally. Because with Donnie, it was just insane on how much he like really became fascinated with Martha despite her literally ruining his life. Like, she sat there and ruined that man's life completely, and then he would just keep going back. He wanted to be around her. He was just so fascinated with her and everything. And then they literally got to the point where he got mad and upset. Well, not mad, but he was like saddened when her emails stopped coming through, her calls stopped coming through, this and the third. He wanted to hear her voice all the time and everything. Like, when she was sending voicemails to him, he was literally categorizing the voicemails, if they were sad, if they were this, if they were that. And I was just like, oh my god, like, it's insane. Pictures up of her on the wall, trying to like piece together who she really is, and this, that, and the third. Like, it was just so much. Even when he ended up having sex with her, he literally had to have sex with her in order to have sex with Terry. Are you serious? Are you absolutely serious? And then the part that just took me away was when he went back to Darren. When he went back to Darren, I was so angry, because like, even if he has like an actual real job opportunity with you, I am not going to go back to the house of a man who raped me multiple times. But it was just in the fact of like, that's how some abused victims are. Like, some of them, no. And then it's also like, you and then it's just like, he also said like how he wanted to file all these charges against Martha, but he never filed charges against Darren, which I thought was insane. Yes, 1,000% he should file them charges against Martha, but I was also like, why did he never want to file charges against Darren? You know, that's a question that's like still being wondered, I guess. Or even, why did he go back to Darren's? Like, that's the part that's still lost to me. But I think it's also in the sense of like, yeah, he was embarrassed, but then it's like eventually everyone found out that he was raped before by a man. You know, he didn't say the specifics, but it was just like, okay, like, is the embarrassment still in the room with us? Or it's one thing to not even press charges or whatever, but it's a whole entire another thing to go back in that space. I cannot. I love me some Terry. I love me some Terry so bad. I did. She was cool. This was honestly insane. No. One thing that got me though was that I wish that the episodes was longer. I don't know what, 7 episodes, and then somewhere like 30 minutes, at most 45. I could have finished that in a day. It took me 2 because I had something to do. But yeah, I just wish it was longer. I would have loved more of it. And I don't know. I feel like that's insane to say, depending, what it really was. But yeah. Oh yeah, and also one thing that like got me, that I was just thinking about, was the fact that it was before Donnie really made that point that he craved Martha's attention. I was so confused on the fact that if you so-called hate this person so bad, you don't want to be around them, they're ruining your life, whatever the case may be. When it comes to that block button, I'm sorry. It's never hard for me to press the block button. Like, I just felt as though, like, you could truly see that he craved her attention so bad, because it was literally like, block her, block the emails from coming in, block the her calls and all her calls and voicemails from coming. You can block that. He chose not to. And it was just like, even when she started showing up to his place, like, a restraining order could have been filed, something like that. But he, like I said, like, what's the name, even said at the police station, why did it take him so long to come in? And then essentially, he loved that attention. It's truly insane. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say for my review. If you have watched this, please let me know in the comments you guys' thoughts, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it. If you don't agree with anything I say y'all twos, because I always appreciate y'all twos. And if you haven't watched it, please go and check it out. I really recommend checking it out. It's just so, like, it's not going to take that long to watch. Like I said, I could have finished it in less than a day. I do think that it's a very enjoyable show. I hope you guys did enjoy this review video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to comment down below. And yeah, see ya.